$50,000 invested into JEPQ by JP Morgan will replace your 9 to 5. It's going to take some time, but this is one of the most popular monthly income ETFs. It's known not only for having a high yield of over 11%, but also for paying consistently without NAV erosion. So in this video, we're going to do a deep dive, not only into JEPQ, but if you can really live off of dividend income. We are looking at the fact sheet for JEPQ. It's going to generate income through a combination of selling options and investing in US large cap growth stocks, which for a lot of people can be a little bit cumbersome because it's not very diversified. But we'll get to the holdings in just a moment. You're going to deliver a monthly income stream from the associated options, premiums, and stock dividends as well. A lot of these bigger stocks don't pay a dividend, but when they do, it is combined into that distribution rate. Seeks to deliver a portion of the returns associated with the NASDAQ 100 index with less volatility. And that's the beauty of this, is you do get exposure to the NASDAQ 100, but you're not going to have the full growth of the NASDAQ because it is printing it as income instead. So you will be capped on some of the upside when things move very rapidly and the options aren't able to capitalize on all of the returns that just the normal NASDAQ 100 is getting. Now, it's going to be a long equity portfolio. A lot of jargon is in here. It's risk adjusted, which is great. And really, I mean, people just like JP Morgan because of their name in the financial industry. Performance for the fund so far has been pretty amazing. So what we have is the fund NAV. If you had started with $10,000 invested into JEPQ when the fund launched in 5/3 of 2022, you would be sitting at $17,426, which is pretty impressive. And this is including the dividends and capital gains reinvested. Now, I want to also mention that JEPQ has pretty good ratings. It has bronze from the Morningstar Medalist rating, analyst-driven percentage 100, data coverage percentage 100, and the overall Morningstar rating, which some people like, some people don't like, it just depends, is 5 stars. But we need more factors with this ETF. We're going to be living off of this income, supposedly, right? So the yield, we're going to take the 12-month rolling dividend yield of 11.17%. The 30-day SEC yield has been a little bit higher, but I want to take the 12-month rolling because it's probably more consistent for what it's actually going to pay. Now, I also want to specify we're using data from the history of this fund to try and sort of predict the performance. We could see crazy returns. We could see terrible returns. No one really knows, but we're using the data that we've collected so far with this fund. Now, getting into the important stuff, what's in the fund? Here where we see the sectors, we'll see that's not super diversified. Communication services is 13%, consumer discretionary is a little under 12, consumer staples 3.5, and then we get to information tech. There's a little bit spread out here and there, but information tech makes up almost 44% of the portfolio. And you're going to know all of these common holdings, the top 10 holdings: NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Broadcom, Netflix, and Advanced Micro Devices, ticker AMD. So we do capitalize on the Mag 7 in this fund. And NVIDIA is 8%, Apple is 7%, and so on. So these are pretty large percentages of these underlying stocks in this fund. So for me personally, it's a little bit troublesome because I already do invest in these in different ways, where I'm kind of double dipping. If I have JEPQ and maybe QQQI and maybe GIPQ, they're all going to have the same holdings because they're all NASDAQ 100 ETFs. But there's also some carryover in the S&P 500 with the Mag 7 stocks. So what we're going to look at now is something very, very important when it comes to these income-producing assets, and that is their distribution or dividend history. I want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, WeBull, the brokerage. Now, WeBull allows you to trade stocks and ETFs with real-time market data, advanced charting, and 0 commissions. And if you're like me and you're trading stocks and ETFs all the time, those commission fees can add up very quickly. I've been using WeBull for years with trading, saving, and even investing in IPOs. In addition to these benefits, they have something new. They have event-based contracts, which includes sports-related outcome markets, meaning you can buy contracts on events in real time. Whether your favorite team is playing and you just know in your heart that they're going to win, or you want to take a bet on the season underdog, WeBull allows all of these things, and all from the same app as your brokerage. Now, WeBull also has paper trading, other rewards, and you be sure to use my link in the description if you want to check WeBull out. All of this happens on the WeBull platform, which operates as a registered futures commission merchant, meaning these contracts are traded in a regulated market. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get back into the video. the distribution history, which for those that don't know, distributions and dividends are different. JEPQ pays a distribution, meaning it is manipulated by the ETF issuer itself, right? So JP Morgan is setting how much money is being paid out and how much they want to go into growth and so on. Different than like a company that pays a dividend based off of profits. So this is a distribution. And I'll probably call it a dividend because I do that way too often. But with JEPQ, one thing to note is the distribution will be variable. That's why you want to have a large sample size to get your kind of average, because the options are variable. Options are not consistent. They do consistently produce income, but that amount of income can change drastically depending on the volatility and what's happening in the market. So when we're looking at this 5-year dividend history, even if we slide to max, which it's only been trading since 2022, so it doesn't have a full 5 years yet, we see there on the low end 34 cents in the month of June. Then we go all the way up to 68 cents in the month of October within that same year. Just a couple months apart, the distribution jumped quite substantially. And then we see it move all over the place. And this is different from normal dividend investing, like if you're holding a dividend stock, a BDC, a REIT, because they try to consistently grow their dividend. Distributions are very different in that sense. Doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that you want to have a better sample size, and it can be difficult to depend on consistency. But JEPQ has been paying a pretty high distribution rate pretty consistently. We can scroll down and even see it does jump around 48 cents, 45 cents, 44, 50, 57, and so on and so forth. But we also want to see, is the dividend growing or is it shrinking? What's happening? So we can see I am using Seeking Alpha. The dividend yield from Seeking Alpha gives it at 10.64%, which is an A+. It's higher than the median of all ETFs, which is 2.7%. 300% higher actually. And the reasoning behind that, not all ETFs pay distributions. I'm not sure if this is only distribution paying ETFs or if it's all ETFs like it says, but either way, JEPQ is focusing on the distribution. Growth rate is a B-. We have the 3-year CAGR, which is compound annual growth rate, meaning how quickly are they growing the distribution payouts. Now, this is also a common misconception between distributions and dividends, because with a dividend, like a dividend stock, if you have a crazy growth rate, it's usually good, but the price will dictate that distribution rate, right? Because if the price of the dividend, if everyone's pumping money into a dividend stock and it goes up in value, that can shrink your dividend yield. With these ETFs, it's different because they're creating shares based off of purchases and sales. So it doesn't have the same relationship as a ETF with a distribution as a dividend does with a dividend stock. So growth is still solid. You want it to be on the up and up, but they are also going to dictate, the issuer is going to dictate that overall payout. And it's also important to note that total return and distribution rate are not the same. People get this confused. If you see something like JEPQ paying out a 10.5% distribution rate, it can still get you 14% total return wise, because there's that growth aspect to it. And again, that's really important to me, but some investors are more interested in simply the distribution rate, getting as much money funneling into their account as possible. They don't care as much about the NAV erosion, which can be a major factor, unfortunately, with a lot of these income ETFs. So there's great data on here. I always recommend Seeking Alpha, but now what we're going to do, we're going to jump into our calculation and let's see how we can actually replace our 9-to-5 income with JEPQ. Now, using the TipRanks calculator, we can see that our $50,000 investment is plugged in. It gets us 861.326 shares for $58.05 a share, which is the current price at the time of filming. I have it plugged in for holding 1 year right now. Our dividend yield is at 11.16%. Our trailing 12 months yield pays out monthly. We're not contributing anything annually. We're not being taxed on this. Let's say we're investing in a Roth IRA. We're not going to increase the dividend or increase the share price. So this is really all a pretty big estimate, right? We're basing it only on the history that we've seen over the last 3 years. We're going to go out a bit farther than that, but it's important to note no one really knows what's going to happen in the market. If we saw a crazy drawdown and the NASDAQ fell 30%, JEPQ would likely follow. But when we plug this in for our first year, we can see we're going to print quite a bit of money. So for $50,000, we're now ending the year at almost $56,000. We've been paid we've been paid about $5,900 in distributions, and our annual dividend income now moving forward, because we have DRIP turned on, we're reinvesting everything, is $6,178. So if you wanted to simply retire off JEPQ today, you're going to have a lot more than $50,000. If you're planning on retiring in 5 years, let's see what JEPQ can get you. If you invested $50,000 into JEPQ, 5 years later, that 50K is going to be worth $87,000. Can we live off of this? Not likely. We're only going to be generating $9,600 in annual income. If you can live off of under 10K a year, more power to you, but most people can't. If we zoom out even farther and let's say 10 years, we can see it's now really compounding. And this is where having drip turned on changes everything with this story. We have 50,000 turning into 151,000. Absolutely phenomenal, a 200% return. And our dividend income moving forward now is going to be $16,789 a year. We still can't live off of that, so we're going to have to pick it up. Now, 20 years, investing $50,000 and JEPQ trends sideways and trades the same and pays the same distribution rate it has for 20 years, we're going to be sitting at $461,000. And I know what you're thinking, that's a ton of money. We've seen insane growth, 822%, but we've held it for 2 decades at this point. So it makes a massive difference. And now our annual dividend income is almost $51,000, which I know what you're thinking. I want to live off more than $51,000. I know we all want to, but if we literally couldn't, if we had 20 years to invest in 50K now, we didn't have to put another penny into this besides the dividend or distributions, I should say, we could then be making $51,000 a year and retire from our jobs, which is absolutely amazing. But let's kick it up a little bit further. If we go 30 years, say you're 30 years old, you have 50K in JEPQ, you want to retire at 60, it's in a Roth IRA, you're not getting taxed on it, and JEPQ trends the market, it's averaging a 16.16% yield, and even though it is growing, we're not factoring that in because growth would make a big difference when it comes to this overall performance. Not factoring in growth because that'll give us an estimate for good years and bad years. Let's see how much money we're living off of. Oh man, our $50,000 has now turned into $1.4 million, right? Over 30 years. It took us 3 decades, but we finally got here. Now our annual dividend income is $155,000. And I know what you're thinking. That's absolutely amazing. And even in 30 years, with inflation, with the cost of everything going up exponentially, I think we'll be able to live off of $155,000. Maybe not super comfortably, but if not, let's say we want to wait till 65, you go to 35 and you see how later on in life, the power of compounding changes everything. So for 5 more years, you've gone from $155,000 to now $270,000 in annual income. And that is the power of JEPQ. Now, these calculations are fun, but don't forget this is speculation. We're basing it off of a fund that's only been trading for a couple of years now. That's really important to remember, and this is not financial advice whatsoever. I know there's a lot of JEPQ fans out there. The AUM for this fund is massive. It's very popular and well-loved, and we can see why. Consistency, distributions. One day, maybe we can retire off a $50,000 investment in JEPQ. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to like and subscribe, and check out this video on my favorite weekly dividend ETFs right now.